Yo, yo, yo. Yo, 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 yo. Ba-dum, bum, bum. Hello, 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 hello. Check out this bookshelf.
Let's go. Here we go now. Batman scoop on the mic. Mix in the mix on the wheels of steel. This is what I was fucking born to do. Let's go.
The Ty Lopez of Twitch. Oh, please let me change my title. Knowledge.
Here in my garage, just bought Hollywood Hills. But you know what I like a lot more than the Hollywood Hills? This new Lamborghini here. In fact, I'm a lot more proud of this new Lamborghini here. Now, maybe you've seen my TEDx talk where I talk about my 2,000 new Warren Buffett books. You know, I read a book a day not to show off. It's, again, about the materialistic thing.
It's about the materialistic thing. Well said, Ty.
In fact, the real reason I keep this Lamborghini here is that it's materialistic, because it wasn't that long ago that I was in a little Lamborghini across the country sleeping on Warren Buffett in a mobile home with only $40,000 in my Lamborghini. I didn't have a college degree. I had no college degree. But you know what? Something happened that changed my life. I bumped into a Lamborghini and another Lamborghini, a few more Lamborghini. I found 5 Lamborghini. And they showed me my garage. Again, it's not just about knowledge. It's about money. And so
Why do they call this guy a scammer? Everything he's spitting is straight facts. Everything's pretty straight facts.
Record a little video. It's actually on my garage. You can click on my Lamborghini and it'll take you to my garage where I share my new Lamborghini. Now, this is a get rich quick scheme. I'm promising you that tomorrow you're going to be able to go out and buy Hollywood Hills. But what I am telling you is it can happen. Now, I record a little
Okay, that's going to burn my ears out. Zoomer memes. Who's Ty Lopez? I guess you don't have a Lamborghini, huh? Not a Lamborghini owner. Hello! Busy day, I guess, for everyone. Not just us employed fellows, but everyone on Twitch. A lot of people had to put in a lot of hours. They had to watch a lot of XUC and Hassan back and forth content. A lot of soldiers today, really putting in the work. This angle looks sick. I don't know if I'm final on it. But I do like the bookshelf. And it's even got a little nook there for Chevy, if he ever graces me with his presence. Being on the East Coast is such an L. Well, it is. It is. It is because you have to watch Marketing Mondays late. And like, okay, so how do you plan your week around that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you plan Get Smarter Saturdays when they have late at night? You're not going to be able to get good sleep. Noah, thank you for the Noah6969. Thank you for the tier 1 sub. Actually, the 5 gifted. Much appreciated. It's hard from Australia. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, but Australia, right? Sleep schedules are upside down, right? It's opposite. So like you want to get as few hours it's like golf. You want to get as few hours as possible. So because it makes you more rested. I think I read that somewhere, right? That's how it works. Nice books. Oh, these? I didn't even notice. Oh, yeah, I guess I do have a couple 100 books back there that I read every single day to stay smart. Wow. Yes, observant of you. I didn't even cross my mind, really. Just reading this one right here. Sheesh. Here's one. Damn, none of these are that. Artemis Fowl's on here. I got Artemis Fowl from the fucking 3rd grade, bro. It's all porn. That's so... Imagine having an entire fucking 200 book bookshelf and it's all fucking hentai. Yeah, I'm a bit of a scholar. Artemis Fowl actually books. Oh my God, Zoomer Pill. Yes, it's a book. You saw the terrible movie and you said, "Man, this franchise rules." Artemis Fowl, Giga Chad, Rangers of Prince, Giga Chad, Warriors, Giga Chad. Yes, sir. Animorphs, baby. So who here? Quick question: who here would like a free 4090? Just show of hands. I'm sort of taking. I don't know how you guys guessed some really insane Einstein level, Sherlock Holmes level detectives in chat somehow figured out ahead of time that the keynote was about a 4090. How did you guys figure out that it was about the 40 series? It's shocking to me. You are truly nine heads. For every one of you that figured it out, you're all getting one for free, I'm sure. I would like when the prices are absurd. So 4090 prices are quite high. I will say that. But it's a very enthusiast card. Jensen gave me a call and told me. Well, that's good. Anyway, I thought the keynote went rather well. I don't want to talk about it too much. I don't like mixing the two streams here. Keynote went well. I watched XQC's react to it, and his chat popped off. We could watch the one trailer I wanted to watch is I thought the Portal RTX was hype. I'm gonna play that on stream. Portal RTX and DLSS 3 both got a lot of pogs. Where is it? Here it is.
This was a triumph. I'm making a note here. Huge success. We do what we must because we can.
When we made this trailer, I thought it'd be cool maybe if GLaDOS said poggers in the middle. But then Lexus yoinked me. You know what I'm saying? It really sucks. It sucks when you have a great idea and then other marketing companies.
For the good of all of us, except the ones who are dead. Welcome to the Aperture Science.
Look how good it looks. The little subtle reflections, the glass, the refraction.
Computer-aided enrichment center. Cake and grief counseling will be available at the conclusion of the test.
And the light stuff works through the portals. So, like, you can, there's very interesting ways to. I legit started crying when I saw this trailer, my #1 game of all time. Okay. Relax. Easy does it. I'm kidding. I'm glad for you. Did you hear about the new GPU? No, tell me more. Did you hear about the new GPU? Wow, that's
the Enrichment Center regrets to inform you that this next test is impossible. What are you doing? Stop it.
Bro, we watched it in 480p. Where's that one part?
Test is impossible.
This part. This part looks so sick. So when the blue portal comes up and you see the blue lights across the ground, real time? That's fucking. I love that. I love that. And then DLSS look pretty good. Big A, now that there's an Omniverse, does that mean NVIDIA is one step closer to developing Syndrome's Omnidrome in real life? Yes. Not that they would, but they are closer, obviously. Syndrome's Omnidrome is forever something the technological world is getting closer to. One step at a time, So is there a shader pack I can download or something? I mean, this will also be free. Portal RTX is free if you own Portal 1. If I had one wish, it would be that I had a blue portal in my house and an orange one in Mr. Glizzy's behind his bookcase so I could scream Glizzy through it as loud as I want each week. That would be your one wish. Legitimately, if a genie came down and gave you one single wish, because I would move. Like you'd get maybe one glizzy. You'd say it once, and then I'm gone. Obviously, that wouldn't. There's no way I'm sticking around to hear you. That's all I need. Imagine it opens up right now. No! No, he's yelling glizzy! Can you explain how the Black Magic game mod upscale works? Yeah. So, I'll be about that. For DLSS 3, they said, Brandon, we need you to hand code this. They said, we need technology that is indistinguishable from magic. That really seems like it's taking AI to the next level. And there's only one person we turn to for this. And that's you, Brandon. So in between doing marketing and streaming, we need you to literally sit down and develop a sort of neural network that can upscale games without performance hits. And I said, sure. And I knocked it out. And I can't explain how it works because I made it. No, I have no idea the technological breakthroughs and makeup underpinnings of DLSS 3, but it does use AI to infer what the next frame would look like on a 4K on a higher resolution setup, and then it downscales it to whatever resolution you're at, so it can run really fast. So you can get higher resolution, but without the performance penalty. That's how it works. I don't know. I mean, that's what it does. I don't know how it works. I swear I've seen your portrait drawn on cave walls from 3000 BC. Self-portrait. I didn't have a lot of friends back then. Really tried to just practice my art. And so I would just go cave to cave. A little bit of early marketing, really. Big book guy. Yeah, as you can see. Much like this book right here. Simple rules. How to thrive in a complex world. Step 1. Gamble. Gamble relentlessly. Easy, easy money. You can't lose if you really try and commit. There you go. Awesome. Write that down. Big A, what are your thoughts on the drama surrounding the current paradigm shifts in our current market? You said current twice, so it didn't sound like you're actually doing a smart level question. 99% of gamblers go home before hitting it big. So true. And Twitch is one of them. Twitch gambled they could just put their fingers in their ears and ignore it and get all the viewership and sub boost from gambling without having any backlash from their consumers or or streamers. And they gambled wrong, dude. They gave up at the end. They should have kept going. They should have kept gambling. Big A, what are your thoughts on this ratio? It's a Twitch chat message. You are incapable of ratioing me through Twitch chat. There's no upvote system. You can't. You can't. I know. You guys are all saying ratio +1, but it doesn't actually add to his score. And you understand the only reason you're saying this is because I read it out loud, setting up a very obvious chain of events that you always fall into. Everything you're doing here is predetermined because it's what you exactly do. Whenever I would read, it's, you don't anyone understand that this is, okay. No, I got it. I take the L. Damn it! Ratioed again. Look at how many +1s he got. Burnsy, thank you for the 18 months. Any take on this drama in the UK? Something about the Queen. Yeah. I guess I had a video on it where I read it. You can watch it. Are they still doing the queue? If you guys don't know, there's like a massive line in the UK to see the Queen's body. And it's like many, many miles long. No, we have QAnon in America, and then they have the Q, which is just a big fat line. It's like waiting at a theme park, but at the end of it, there's no ride. It's a dead old woman. Which is not the same level of excitement. Did the funeral already happen? I have no idea. I've stopped keeping up. My understanding is that there's a massive line throughout London. People are waiting in the queue. And, you know, if it's a thing for the country, then I got nothing against it. I just thought it was funny how it's like, I had never heard of that. It passed my friend's house. It was crazy. Only before the funeral. So is it over now? The funeral did happen and Joe Biden was late to it. Old Joe. Still kicking her while she's down, dude. Drama. Oh my God. Joe Biden skips shit camp. Uh-oh. Drama. Get Prince Charles, or King Charles, and Joe Biden in a Discord call ASAP. 600K views. Eminem was at the funeral. Damn. That was an awfully cold coffee pot. As he poured at the wake for other mourners. You're going to keep up with Law Worlds this year? Yes, unfortunately. Unfortunately, I have been infected with the disease. The brain disease known as League of Legends. Thanks in high part to Clint Stevens. I have thankfully stopped playing. I have not played a game since the tournament, but I'm interested in the games. So I'm going to watch them and care about them. And I'm going to get excited when my team wins, and I'm going to get sad when my team loses. It really is disgusting. It's foul. And then if they pick something that I like and they do well, I'm going to feel inspired to play the game. And I'm going to get on and play solo queue. And then it's not going to do well because I'm going to copy a build from a fucking LCS player. And I'm going to get flamed by my team and get really mad at them. And then I'm going to panic queue up again and try a random new champion and just have my entire elo collapse. If Faker plays Fizz, you're done. If Faker plays Fizz, we're playing Fizz a week straight on the stream. You better hope he doesn't. Is my favorite unproblematic G2 team in the world. Can I talk about this? I made a video today, thanks to Quack for the quick turnaround, about the G2 Carlo situation. I want to clarify what I thought was very, very obvious, but I don't think people understood. Because maybe there's just fucking more tater tots than I thought. I feel like it was very obvious. The video is not about whether or not I like Andrew Tate. I don't. But that's not what the video is about. The video is about how fucking stupid it is, even if you're the biggest fucking Andrew Tate lover in the world, to tweet pictures and triple down the week of Valorant franchise picks. By the way, what's this? What's this? G2 had a spot locked in NA, but Riot had an emergency meeting and decided otherwise. I literally called this yesterday. It's just so obvious. And I'm not the person who's the CEO of the company. So you'd think someone whose entire livelihood and job revolves around that, who's got employees depend on it, would give it 1 second of thought, dude. It's just so dumb. That's what the video's about. The video is that it is a crazy unforced error. And that's what I wanted to make it about. For the record, I also think Tate's a piece of shit. I legitimately also think he is a scammer that preys upon the fact that a lot of, especially young men right now, are in a very confusing, changing world that is extremely relationally unequal and economically unequal. And so they're desperate and they're scared and they don't know how to make money. They don't know how to find a relationship, which is harder than ever. And so they're looking for any type of person that'll tell them what to do. And he blames it all on women, says it's not your fault. So they fall for the trap and they give him money. He scams. That's what he does. He's a big fat fucking scammer. Okay? That's what he does. I hate to break it to you. He's not your friend. He's not a genius. He's a fucking scammer that realizes that you're kind of in a sad, lonely spot. That's the fucking... Ludwig's your friend, though. Yeah. So anyway, but that wasn't even the point of the video. People act like I was like randomly picking up on the Tate drama 8 months later. No, I'm not. The video was literally about G2 Carlos just making a really dumb decision. Like, just if you're gonna fucking party with Andrew Tate, do it off camera for a week. Christ. Will this affect the marketing of sparkling water? No. If you want the answer, no. Did you see that G2 was denied franchising because of Carlos Omegalol? Did you? Bro, it wasn't even 30 seconds ago. It wasn't even 30 seconds ago that I pulled up the tweet. What is the goldfish brain are you talking about? How did you come in here fast enough to figure out what we're talking about and join in, but slow enough to not realize what we just said it? We literally just said it. No, it's not a green screen. I picked up the book. By the way, again, not all of these books are winners. This is one of the worst books that I've ever purchased. It's called The Art of Social Media. I bought it when I was working on social media at Twitch. I bought this book in 2014, and it was already like 6 years out of date. And it's not like high-level concepts like, here's how you have a big cohesive strategy on social media. It's like, here's how you fucking change your bio. You know? It's like fucking tools and stuff that's all out of, it's like how to use the retweet button. It's like, here, number 29, be organized. If your post on Google Plus is longer than 4 paragraphs, try to use a Google Plus. Google Plus. Guy Kawasaki is a scammer, by the way. I mean, he's just a fucking bit of a charlatan. He worked at Apple once a long time ago and has rode that ever since. Extreme. He's not a social media guru by any means, and this is an awful, awful book. But it has a nice color and a nice hue that fits with my blue shelf. Where's the Bob Iger poster? I'm looking at it. You can't see it, but Bob Iger's right there, smiling down. He's smiling down on me. Oh, I might watch an Elden RIng lore video today. Straight up. Elden RIng lore, Shark Tank Family Feud. 2 things that are on the menu today. This was a triumph. Making a note here. Here's success. It's hard to overstate my satisfaction. Dude, there's actually every one of these books has a story. I'll be honest with you. I got a book. This book's like from the 70s. This is Small Stakes Hold'em, Winning Big with Expert Play. This book was published in, I don't know, like 1980 or something. It's an extremely old book. And it's because I lived, yeah, it's TOS. TOS. Oh, Lord, don't let me gamble. It's because when I lived in Korea, I was trying to learn poker. As you guys may have heard from my previous stories, I was trying to make big money playing poker in Korea. And I went to a American bookstore in Korea, and this was the only poker book they had. And it's like, all the concepts are like just fold bad cards and keep good cards. I mean, it's so basic. It's fine. It actually probably was good enough for me at the time, but it it wasn't. It wasn't that great. And I remember reading this book while eating bulgogi every day. RTX Remix seems like amazing tech. Should we watch the trailer? Good call. RTX Remix. Do. This was a triumph. It's crying over every mistake. Why am I not in music? Do you know what I'm saying? Why am I not a professional musician and artiste? How did the keynote today go? Listen, I want to talk about something. I want to talk about something more serious, okay? Yes, there was a keynote, okay? I want to talk about two of the biggest names on Twitch and how they both maybe are not as bad as you think, okay? Maybe they actually do use their platform responsibly. For example, a lot of people have given Hassan shit for things like buying a house and buying a car. But guess what he also buys? GeForce GPUs. Good call. Good call. Good call. Good call. You know what? Maybe he's not so bad. Although, he did DM me asking for one. You can afford it. All right? You can afford it. All right? Well, you pick one up. And then XQC watched the keynote today and pogged at all of the right pog moments to 98,000 people. So maybe they have more in common than they think. Maybe technology can bring them together. Well, I was going to watch RTX Remix. I can't find the RTX Remix video, but it was... oh, you know what I can do? Is I wanted to watch, anyway, this. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba. This was sick. Getting around that would be cool. Any hoot. I just wanted to show that, so I thought it was cool. Hope everybody's doing well. I think we will. What did I say? We're gonna watch today. We're gonna watch Elden Ring lore videos, which I do need to get. After dropping the hottest Elden Ring album of all time, Gucci Katana, an absolute banger of a late summer/fall hit that will carry us through the winter and really bring people together at a time we need it the most. And then I'll do the Shark Tank Family Feud. How about a deep dive into your personal relationships between you and your friends and you publicize it for content? Interesting. Let's try my idea first and then we'll go to that. Okay? What do you want to hear? You want to hear the beef between me and Stans? I don't really have personal relationship beefs. I don't have drama. Me and Stans talk about... The biggest beef I have with Stans is that he likes Rings of Power more than House of the Dragon. And actually, I want to talk about that son of a bitch, okay? What are you talking about, dude? House of the Dragon's way better. I'm sorry, but it's just a more gritty, realistic story. Higher stakes. I've got no problem with Rings of Power, but let's be real. Get him in the call, dude. Get him in the call and let's debate. No, I have no honest. In fact, had a really good time hanging out with the boys recently. I'm really excited for you guys to see the video we did with Magnus Malmo, the climbing one, because I had so much fun. I had so much fun filming that. That was like a great day. So I hope imagine it turns out terrible. All right, well, if it's an awful video, then I regret it. But on the day, it was like really fun. It was like Magnus Mitbo, yeah, Mitbo. What did I say? Meatball. Magnus Carlsen, still my goat. I'll tell you that, still my goat. Magnus Carlsen resigns a game, move one, as part of a massive chess drama. Everyone's mad at him. Also wins the tournament, clearly, handily. Crushes the tournament. The chess speaks for itself, baby. Even with the free loss. What's up, Slime? Bro, I was just at a party recently. Tafikins' birthday party with Slime. Unhinged behavior, dude. Unable to control himself for 15 minutes. If you put Slime in a room with more than 2 human beings, it's over. He will flip out and then he'll leave. But he actually brought me my controller, which was really sweet and nice of him. Because I thought I lost that. Did you hear about... shut the fuck up. Drama with Slime. Yeah, I need to get Slime to call. Okay, so I wanted to watch... you ever watch lore videos, Slime? Are you a Vati kind of guy? I know you play a lot of Souls-likes, but I don't know that you... Today I'm watching Elden Ring lore videos. Trying to figure it out. Because I felt the entire time playing Elden Ring, I was like, man, this lore seems cool, but I don't know any of it. And I don't know where I would have picked it up. It feels like one of those games you only get the lore from YouTube videos. To me, and again, this is like my first real Souls game, I believe, other than Sekiro. Sekiro's my first one, and then Elden Ring's my next one. And it seems to me like it was designed for you to get the lore through YouTube videos. Not like, there wasn't even... In some games, they throw you the free... here's Elden Ring's lore explained. 6 million views. That sounds great. Let's watch this. Studying for the Elden Ring history final.
In the lands between. It begins in the cosmos, far away, with an outer god called the Greater Will.
Wait, let me before I jump into this video, let me guess what I think the lore is about based on my first entire playthrough, which took me 7 months and hundreds of hours. And I went in blind with no spoilers, and I played the entire thing with no guides, no map, no Twitter, none of it. All right? So let me think. So it all began when the Elden King created the Elden Ring. And the king had a gigantic Pokemon named, at the time, Beast. But as he got older, Elden Beast, because of its age. From there, the story really was rather straightforward. He had 100 children, and every one of them was a tough-as-nails boss. And much like Bowser, he scattered them throughout the land. Pre-watched. Pre-watched the video. And so Radagon is the Elden King. His Pokemon is the Elden Beast. And all of the maidens and mistresses that I fight throughout the lands are his kids. And they've had their own squabbles, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, they mean well. And I'm the one who's here to shake things up. And who am I? His other long-lost kid. Tarnished. Okay, well, let's find out if that is the story.
There are a lot of outer gods mentioned in Elden Ring. You can think of these kind of like the Great Ones of Bloodborne. They're distant beings. They're all-powerful and they're quite unknowable by design.
Okay.
But many of these outer gods want to make their presence felt in the world. The Greater Will, maybe most of all. To this end, it sent a golden star hurtling towards the lands between. The Elden Star's incantation tells us that this golden star was bearing a beast.
The Elden
an
Beast.
Elden Beast. The
Okay.
Elden Remembrance calls it a vassal beast of the Greater Will. If you didn't know, a vassal is someone who holds land on...
I feel like I'm going to need an explanation video for the explanation video. Because so far we're a little bit in, and I feel like I'm not a hundo P following what he's saying.
behalf of their overlord. Obviously, this is fitting in this case, because the Elden Beast occupied the lands between on behalf of the Greater Will, and
Right.
was a living incarnation.
He's just
of
going
the
deep with it.
concept
You know, I
of
thought he'd go
order.
high level and
As
zoom in.
such, this beast would later become the Elden Ring.
Wait, the beast is the
The
ring?
Elden Ring itself is made up of runes of power, some great, some small, that together represent a sort of logic for the world to follow. Thus, the Elden Ring represents order. The true nature of this order is a subject of constant debate and research undergone by fundamentalists. But two of the key fundamentals are the laws of causality and regression. You can think of the law of causality as cause and effect, where actions have consequences, and those consequences are new causes that branch out into infinity. These
Right.
are the relationships
Like if you post a video of partying with Andrew Tate, you might have a consequence of not getting into Valorant. Understood. Bring it back to the fundamentals. Understood. Got it.
between things. Then there's the law of regression that states that all things eternally yearn to converge and return to their roots. Fittingly, then, the Elden Ring is housed within the Erd Tree, which towers over the lands
Love
between.
the Erd Tree. Big fan.
But it's very important to stress that life in the lands between did not begin with the Erd Tree, the Elden Ring, or the Elden Beast.
Okay.
No, the lands between were occupied well before the Greater Will came. There were other beings here. There were other factions here. There were other gods here. And there was even another great tree here.
Interesting.
Before the Erd Tree. And this is where a huge twist regarding
Interesting.
the Erd Tree
I never
comes
saw an
in.
Erd Tree.
So there are incantations in the game called aspects of the Crucible. According to their descriptions, these are manifestations of the Erd Tree's primal vital
that move.
energies. And I quote, "They are an aspect of the primordial crucible where all life was once blended together."
People talk.
But how could all life be blended together in the Erd Tree if the Erd Tree appeared after life existed? Well, there can
Checkmate,
only be
atheists.
one answer, right? That the Erd Tree is a parasite, and it took over a tree that existed here before. This ancient tree was called the Great Tree. So the Great Tree was almost certainly the location of this primordial crucible, and it must have been a very powerful primordial force for the Greater Will to have commandeered. It might even be the reason the lands between is important to the Greater Will in the first place. It also explains why spells and enemies related to the Great Tree's crucible
I have a tough time understanding gods as characters when they're not like Zeus, who like wants to fuck and have kids and throw lightning. You know, when the god is called the Greater Will and has no known motivation and just does things, it's tough for me to like wrap my mind around his part of the story. But when it's like, hey, he loves to turn into the goat and then go around and fuck people, like I'm like, all right, well, I understand I get his motivations.
would eventually be looked down upon. For example, the knot talisman is fashioned from a knotted vestige of the crucible, and it was considered a signifier of the divine in ancient times, but is now increasingly disdained as an impurity as civilization has advanced. Enemies related to the crucible are the Omen, the Misbegotten, and the Crucible Knights, and all three
Fuck
of
those
them
guys.
would be shunned, enslaved, or imprisoned. Those who speak for the Erd Tree don't want you to know its roots, so to speak.
Damn, bars.
According to the spell, protection of the Erd Tree, in the beginning everything was in opposition to the Erd Tree, but through countless victories and
Oh,
war, it
interesting.
became the embodiment of order.
In Marika's own words, The Erdtree governs.
So the land was kind of living, doing their own thing. Then the Erdtree shows up via the greater will and starts clapping cheeks in all these battles. And suddenly it becomes the new force of the land.
All. The choice is thine. Become one with the order, or divest thyself of it. To wallow at the fringes, a powerless upstart.
But the Greater Will needed more than a big tree. It needed loyal agents in the lands between. To this end, it has the Two Fingers, who are its envoys. The Two Fingers heirloom has a weird picture of them, but it reads, "Of course, fingers cannot speak, yet these are eloquent. Persistently they wriggle, spelling out mysteries in the air. Thus did we gain the words of..."
Okay, is it just me or is the greater will dumb as fuck? If you want to take over the lands between, why did you send a giant tree and two fucking stumpy ass fingers? What? Why is that your fucking... It seems so asinine.
Our faith. These words are interpreted by the finger readers. These are the undying old crones that you would have found throughout the lands between.
Fingers!
They
Give me your
pass down the wisdom
fingers!
of the Two Fingers.
I know these guys.
Or at least they used to.
Your fingers, please, your fingers. I can read them.
Most of them appear to have lost their purpose, and they're desperate to read your fingers and tell you annoying riddles, since their two fingers are likely dead.
Oh,
And yes,
yikes.
of course, there are multiple sets of Two Fingers. You would have found their corpses on the tops of the divine
Found them
towers.
all, really.
Atop these towers, you loot the fingers in order to activate the true power of a great rune. Specifically, though, you are giving benediction back to your great rune. You're taking a blessing back from the two dead fingers, essentially. This is just one of many blessings that the Two Fingers can bestow, and my point is kind of that the Two Fingers clearly have more than just influence. They have real power.
Well, they're
on some level.
gigantic
The
animated
Greater Will
fingers, so I assume they
needs
have
these
something.
powerful envoys and agents because, while it's obviously incredibly powerful, it does seem limited by a few things. First is space. The Greater Will didn't come to the lands between itself, it sent an Elden beast to do its bidding instead.
Right.
Second is time. There is a moment later in the game where your pair of Two Fingers goes still because they're forced.
Can I just say, like, if it ends up being said that the Elden Beast somehow beat Melania in a fight, that's a cap. I fought both of them. Let me tell you, it wouldn't be fucking close, dude. It wouldn't be fucking close. I feel like the Elden Beast would have showed up and got his cheek slapped day one. And then they would have been sent back to where it came from. And these fingers can't fight for shit, so, like, what actually happened?
To commune with the Greater Will for guidance.
When they are finished, the fingers will again offer their guidance. But thousands, if not tens of thousands, of moons must first pass. No matter for me. But you, how will you ever manage to wait?
I'll stream.
So the Greater Will needs a physical manifestation of order. It needs envoys to convey its will, but what it also needs is a god. Introducing Marika the Eternal.
Oh,
I have this
radical.
utterly enormous mind map of Elden
What
Ring's
the
lore.
fuck?
And there's a reason she's at the center.
Oh,
she's
God.
essentially the equivalent of Gwyn from Dark Souls.
Of course.
Except, unlike Gwyn, Marika didn't just crawl out of the dark and find power. To an extent, it seems like she earned it. We don't know much about her origins, except that she is of the Newman race, which is actually an origin that you can choose in the character selection screen. Newman come from outside the lands between, and are supposed descendants of denizens of another world,
Okay.
long-lived but seldom born. At some point, Marika was chosen as an Empyrean. What is an
Okay.
Empyrean? Well, an Empyrean is a being chosen by the Fingers as a candidate for godhood. As an
The
Empyrean,
Fingers can make
Marika
gods.
received the aid of a shadow to do her bidding. So what is a
Assistant.
shadow? Well, it's a wolf, shadowbound to its Empyrean by the Two Fingers.
Okay.
Luna Princess Rani is another example of an Empyrean with a shadowbound beast. You would
Oh,
have met
yeah.
Blythe. These creatures are the Empyrean's very own shadow. They are completely loyal to their needs and, by definition, incapable of treachery.
George R. R. Martin was boofing, dude. He should have finished the fucking Game of Thrones books. What the fuck were you on?
Marika's shadow was a beast called Malakath. Every Empyrean uses their shadow in different ways, but Marika's sole need of her shadow was as a vessel to lock away destined death. So what is destined death? Well, according to Enya, it's the rune of death.
The rune of death goes by 2 names. The other is destined death.
That answers
We mentioned
that.
earlier that the Elden Ring is made up of runes, and at some point, maybe when she was chosen as a god, Marika plucked the rune of death from the Elden
Yoink!
Ring. She gave the rune of death to Malakath, her totally loyal shadow,
Oh!
who bore a black blade.
That's why he's so
imbued
strong.
with this rune. It's kind of genius, really. In a single act, she removed the concept of death from the lands between, while also commanding total control of death through her shadow, who could deliver it at her whim.
Wow. That's cool.
Now, some of you might be asking, if
She
death is
squoinked the
removed from the lands
concept of
between,
death.
how come I can kill this dog? First off,
Well.
shame on you. Second, from a lore point of view, that dog isn't really dead. It's simply in the process of its spirit, or its soul, returning to the Erd Tree. Catacomb dungeons, for example,
but that
are
is kind of a
specifically
death.
constructed near the roots of the Great Tree for this reason, so that the Erd Tree can reabsorb their ashes back into
I
it.
mean, these guys look pretty dead. Right?
This process replaced the concept of a death that you were destined to have. But this random spirit outside of a catacomb dungeon says it best. As another example of this theory, when you kill a major boss, you receive a remembrance of them. These are spirits, and they are hewn into the Erd Tree. In this way,
Okay.
thanks to the Erd Tree's grace, their spirits are immortalized, in a sense.
Good for them.
This new form of death also explains what's happening when you summon spirits.
From ash and return to
Never
the
did
Erd
it.
Tree.
However, some spirits never return
Sorry,
to the Erd Tree.
I hate to pause there. I don't like to make a big deal out of it, but I didn't actually use any summons, so guess it kind of bears repeating. Guess it's kind of worth noting in some way, some small way. I guess it's worth saying, wow, Atrioc, you're really cool. You didn't ever use the spirits. Well, I don't even bother. Not something I even thought about. Didn't even come to my mind. I just because he forced me to bring it up.
And they rise within death as corpses or skeletons instead.
Sure.
So this was the new order. And it's important to stress that it was in this moment, when the rune of death was removed, when destined death was taken, this is when order became the Golden Order.
The forbidden shadow plucked from the Golden Order upon its creation.
Specifically,
fucking what
this
now?
was Marika's Golden Order.
Okay, she
So
created
not
the Golden
only
Order.
did she become a god and a vessel for the Elden Ring, she became renowned as Marika the Eternal for her removal of destined death. It was a huge part of her character and her reign as well. However, Marika had more than just death to conquer. She had wars to fight.
If somebody showed up in the real world and said, hey, guess what? I have yoinked the concept of death from God himself. No longer will anyone die. And then someone gets hit by a car and they instantly die. But she's like, no, their runes just went to the tree. I would say she's scamming me. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say, oh my God, America the Eternal, you've truly done it. I would say, wait, you're just fucking lying. That they're dead. What's that? Well, how do I know the difference?
As the world was occupied by many forces that could threaten her Golden Order. There was war with the Stormlord, who likely ruled over Stormvale, and there was a war with the Giants, who were masters of a flame that could burn the Erd Tree. There was war with the ancient dragons, who incidentally had stones that could twist time and thus slay a god.
That's convenient.
And finally, there was war brewing with the Carrion royalty, who had previously obeyed laws which contravened the Golden Order. Thus, sort of similar to how the Greater Will needed an Empyrean to enforce.
That one feels like almost not even worth mentioning. Like, you're talking about time-twisting gigantic dragons, the giants with a fire that could burn the tree of life itself, and then some rich guys. Why? They're not even on the same fucking level.
Its will, Marika herself needed someone to wage war. So there was to be a husband, a consort, an Elden Lord. The man chosen was Hoarah, a ferocious warrior who became known as the Lord of the Battlefield. His crown was warranted with strength, and while it was for this strength that Marika married him, he was also required to take a vow to conduct himself as a lord. To suppress the ceaseless lust for battle that raged within, Hoarah took the beast regent Sarosh upon his back. You'll notice this is another example of a beast being given for the purpose of serving order.
Interesting.
Thus, in this moment, he went from being Hoarah, warrior, to Godfrey, the first Elden Lord,
he cleaned up for the
consort to
gram.
Queen Marika, and a certified demigod. Godfrey
But
and
we know the
Marika
real him.
had 3 demigod children together. There was Godwyn the Golden, who you saw being killed in the opening trailer, and there were also the reviled Omen twins, Morgoth, who guards the Erd Tree, and Mohg, who became Lord of Blood.
Killed them both.
You might think that Godric was another demigod child, but he actually wasn't.
Where does
Instead,
he come from?
he was probably descended from Godwyn. Anyway, we'll talk about the demigods more in detail in another video, so subscribe for that. But for now, just
That guy
know that
loved
Godfrey...
grafting. We never talk about it enough, but man, did Godric love grafting things. He's a crazy man, dude. He loved grafting. And you gotta respect a guy who loves his hobby. He really did, dude. That guy could graft. He do be grafting when I see him.
and his offspring
Man sure
were the
did love a
first
graft.
demigods, henceforth known as the Golden Lineage. In his
Sigma
wars,
graft
Godfrey
set.
led his 16 Crucible Knights into battle, who were named so
He was
for
on
they fought
Graft
with
Talk.
the primordial powers of the Erd Tree. Their incantations were aspects of the Crucible
Fuck
itself.
this fight,
and
dude.
They likely fought giants, dragons, the Stormlord, and more to usher in their age, the age of the Erd Tree.
Okay, these guys were
America's own
warriors of
words.
America. Okay.
Hark, brave warriors. Hark, my lord Godfrey. We commend your deeds. Guidance hath delivered ye through each ordeal to the place ye stand. Put the giants to the sword and confine the flame atop the mount.
Damn.
Let a new epoch begin, an epoch glistening with life. Brandish the Elden Ring for the age of the Erd Tree.
Doesn't seem so bad.
The Erd Tree would go on to be largely seen as a blessing for all of those in the
Yeah, it
lands
sounds like not so
between,
bad, right?
especially those close to it in Lanedell, the capital city of
Things
the
are
Erd
going
Tree.
pretty good.
The tree bestowed blessings. For example, the dew that dropped from its branches were like jewels. It loomed overhead as a constant reminder of order, and its roots reached far and wide, relieving many of the burden of death. In fact, Erd Tree burial was one of the highest honors a hero could receive.
Okay.
One by
When does
one,
it go wrong?
The previous factions of the world fell. The giants were put to the sword, and their fell god was killed by Marika herself. The
Damn.
ancient dragons broke down the walls of Lanedell, but met fierce retaliation. However, I think the House of the Erd Tree encountered the most trouble against the land to their southwest, Leonia. Here, the House of the Moon repelled their offensives time
I guess I was dead wrong. Damn. I thought the rich people would be the easiest opponent. Turns out they were the hardest. Crazy. Kind of just fucking clapped dragons, no problem.
and time again. And I mean that literally, because there was not just one, but 2 wars fought here, and in both of these, there was no victory for the Golden, nor for the Moon. And I suspect it was probably because of these lobsters. These damn things can snipe you from like a mile away, and it's bullshit. Actually, it was probably because of the Carrier Knights, who, according to their weapons, were able to wield sorcerous battle skills, and despite numbering fewer than 20, this power made them a match
There was less than
to even
20
the
of them?
champions of gold in battle.
That doesn't make
These
sense.
enchanted knights were anointed by the Lunar Queen, a young astrologer who went on to establish the House of Caria as royalty in this land. With her bewitching lunar magic, she won over the Academy of Raya Lucaria, where glintstone sorcery was studied, and united the Carian
Harry
royal
Potter, I get it.
family and the learned scholars of Raya Lucaria defended their home from the golden aggressors. At the head of this great golden army was Radagon.
Lord Radagon was a great champion, possessed of
Okay, so
flowing
he was
red locks.
part of
He came
the rich
to these
people.
lands at the head of a great golden host. when he met Lady
No, he
Renala
wasn't.
in
So Radagon was part of the tree army, and he showed up to fuck over the rich magicians.
battle.
These two champions clashed, fell in love, and joined their
And they fell in love?
houses.
Radagon once cleansed himself with celestial dew,
Gross.
repented his territorial aggressions, and swore his love to Renala. The order of the Erdtree and the fate of the moon were conjoined, and all the wounds of war forgiven.
You might think it strange that the Greater Will would permit this union, but it's not too odd, all things considered. As with most From Software games, sorcery and faith are just two sides of the same coin, and both of these powers stem from the cosmos. Radagon and Renala were known to have 3 children together.
Okay.
Lunar Princess Rani, who inherited her mother's propensity for lunar magic.
Yep.
Radahn, who took after his father Radagon and would go on to master gravitational magic. And
Yeah.
Rykard, who pioneered new hex sorceries.
Oh, that
and
guy.
would go on to feed himself to a great serpent.
That's not like a resume item. That's not something you go on to do. That's something that is done to you, I assume. My son graduated Harvard and he went on to get hit by a bus. That's just not how you phrase it.
It follows that at some point after this, Marika began to harbor doubts. Doubts about the Golden Order that she had had a hand in creating.
In Marika's own words, I declare mine intent to search the depths of the Golden Order.
Okay.
Through understanding of the proper way, our faith, our grace is increased. Those blissful early days of blind belief are long past.
Ooh.
My comrades, why must ye falter?
And it's at this point that we should talk about Marika's motivations, her character. This is surely going to be one of those huge points of debate in the coming years, but for now, my working theory is that she wanted to discover the truth behind order and the truth behind the Greater Will, and she believed that...
Is there a truth, or was it just some fucking god trying to do some god shit? Like, what truth is there? He just sent everything and they're doing his bidding.
bonds had to be broken so that they could be better understood. She believed that there was great meaning to be found in hardship.
Queen Marika has high hopes for us, that we continue to struggle, unto eternity.
For Lord Godfrey, his struggle ended at the end of his campaigns. According to his armor, he led the war against the giants, faced the Storm Lord alone, and then there came a moment when his last worthy enemy fell, and it was then, as the story is told, that the hue of Lord Godfrey's eyes faded.
Damn, relatable, dude. Fucking relatable. That's how I feel when I beat Absolute Radiance in Hollow Knight. I hate to bring it up. I hate to bring it up, but it is kind of like how when I beat Absolute Radiance in Hollow Knight, and it just feels like, what's left, you know? Goddamn.
In truth, he was robbed of his grace. Then Marika sent him away.
My lord,
You know what my favorite... Any of you League of Legends frogs ever watch Midbeast? One of my favorite bits on Midbeast videos is one time he went to Korea and he beat Faker in lane in a solo queue game. And so he slips it into every fucking video. And it's really funny. And Dopa. And every fucking video he like kind of just brings it up. And man, it cracks me up every single fucking time, dude. And his comments always have it as the top comment is like, man, this guy's so humble and great. I love how he barely managed to bring up that he beat Dopa in lane. Oh man, it's a great meme.
and thy warriors, I divest each of thee of thy grace. With thine eyes dimmed, ye will be driven from the lands between. Ye will wage war in a land afar, where ye will live and die.
That sucks.
This became known as the Long March of the Tarnished, as Godfrey and his tarnished descendants walked away from the lands between. But Queen Marika absolutely had a plan here, that Lord Godfrey and his descendants would one day return stronger.
Bernie can
having
still win.
struggled outside of grace.
Then, after thy death, I will give back what I once claimed, return to the lands between, wage war, and brandish the Elden Ring, grow strong in the face of death.
I'm sorry, did I miss that? When did she lose the Elden Ring? Didn't Queen Marika already have it and have the Rune of Death and was kind of the GOAT? When did she lose it? In her couch for real, for real. What did they tell me? When did Radagon shatter it? They didn't say that.
Warriors of my lord, Lord Godfrey.
Soon after, she found a new husband.
Sheesh.
Either that or a new husband was found for her.
When Godfrey, first Elden Lord, was hounded from the lands between, Radagon left Rennala to return to the Erdtree capital, becoming
Dang.
Queen Marika's
He left
second
Rennala?
husband and king consort, taking the title of
He tried to trade up for a better job title?
second
Snake,
Elden
dude.
Lord.
Snake.
The mystery endures to this day as to why Lord Radagon would cast Lady Rennala aside,
Money, dude.
and moreover, why a mere champion would be chosen for the seat of Elden Lord.
Whatever the case, as a part of this union, Radagon's prior 3 children with Rennala became demigod stepchildren, granted grace thanks to their new family tree. Rennala was broken by this.
Sad.
So was her country, Leonia. The Queen's set reads, when Rennala, head of both the Academy of Raya Lucaria and the Carian royal family, lost her husband Radagon, her heart went along with him. And then those at the Academy realized that Rennala was no champion after all. In the wake of Radagon's betrayal and Rennala's poor judgment, Leonia struggled with civil war, with the Academy of Raya Lucaria on one side
And Dumbledore on the other. And it was a battle that has been told time and time again through 7 magical books that I think we discuss in a separate video.
and the Carian royals on the other. And it's here, during the age of the Erdtree, that Lunar Princess Rani, daughter of Rennala and Radagon, stole a fragment of the Rune of Death.
Fragment of a
It
rune?
happened during the golden age of the Erdtree, long before the shattering of the Elden Ring. Someone stole a fragment of the Rune of Death from Malekith, the Black Blade.
As mentioned previously, Malekith was Marika's shadow, and he had sealed destined death in a black blade. Then a fragment, only a fragment, of this Rune of Death was stolen. And once this happened, Malekith went a step further in protecting destined death. He bound the blade within his own flesh, such that none might rob death ever again.
Okay.
It was too late, however. This fragment of the Rune of Death was used immediately, that night, to kill a demigod.
Who?
Marika's own son, Godwyn the Golden.
That was the first recorded death of a demigod in all history, and it became the catalyst. Soon, the Elden Ring was smashed, and thus sprang forth the war known as the Shattering.
Now, there is a lot of really credible evidence that Marika was behind
Marika
this plot
killed her own
to
son?
have a fragment of the Rune of Death stolen. There's also a ton of evidence that Marika is behind the entirety of your tarnished quest, but we'll talk about that in another video. For now, all you really need to know, in terms of the timeline at least, is this. After the marriage of Marika and Radagon, and after a fragment of the Rune of Death was stolen, Marika went on to shatter the Elden Ring, and Radagon attempted to repair it, to no avail. The Elden Ring had been broken into runes, some great and some
Taking something that's smashed and then hitting it with a hammer generally does not put it back together. This is a little piece of advice that I've learned in my own life.
small.
You know, it's said that Lord Radagon harbored a secret. A famed sculptor of the Erdtree capital was once summoned to render Lord Radagon's likeness in giant stature, when he glimpsed the skeleton in Radagon's closet. And as such, it's said the great statue harbors his secret too.
Ooh, what is that?
Of course, The huge twist in Elden Ring is that Radagon is Marika.
Oh!
Or depending on what you believe, he became her.
Wait, what?
For she knew it was going to happen.
In Marika's own words, O Radigan, leal hound of the Golden Order, thou art yet to become me. Thou art yet to become a god. Let us be shattered, both. Mine other self.
You can tell when From Software is keeping something a little bit open-ended, and of everything in Elden Ring's lore, this will also go on to be one of the biggest unknowns as we move forward. For example, the wording, thou art yet to become me, reinforces that Marika and Radagon were two separate entities before the shattering.
I mean, how did they get married?
However,
it can't actually be her like putting on a costume, right? Because they had a wedding and he married. It can't be the same.
In contrast, there is also evidence that Radagon was always part of Marika. For example, Enya says that
the demigods are each and all the direct offspring of Queen Marika.
But how can this be if Radagon married Rennala and had those demigod children?
Yeah.
The only way that makes sense is if Radagon was always Marika and he just went over there to seduce Rennala long ago. I'll present more concrete theories in the future, but on this matter, the most important thing is, what do you think? While you can figure out a ton of Elden Ring's story, not all of it is open to interpretation. Certain things are, and this is one of them. And your interpretation is a big part of what makes this story special. At any rate, the union of Radagon and Marika seems to be a union of two fundamental opposing laws of the Golden Order. We mentioned
Etho Ditho says maybe I'm Marika. I think it's open-ended. I don't think it's that open-ended. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's you. Do you know? I think they're trying to say no. I don't think he might be. Marika in chat, Pog. Okay. Well. I guess Marika could be Radagon herself and Etho Detho from chat.
Actually, there's the law of causality, and Marika is an agent of cause and effect. And there's the law of regression, as Radagon is a character who aspires to be complete and regress together. So I have a theory that forcing these two beings that represent these concepts together would have corrected Marika's deviance. But even so, she was imprisoned in the Erd Tree for the crime of the Shattering.
Marika's trespass demanded a heavy sentence. But even in shackles, she remains a god and the Vision's vessel.
The conjoined Radagon and Marika even had two demigod children of their own, Miquella and Malenia. These two children were born afflicted. Miquella
How did the same person have a child with themselves?
was cursed with eternal childhood, and Malenia harbored a horrific rot within. Even so, these two children were both chosen as Empyreans. They were immensely sacred.
Nepotism. I'm sorry, but I'm sure there's really well-deserving Empyreans out there who put in the work and came from poorer backgrounds. And instead, the fucking eternal kid and the rot monster get it. Do you know what I'm saying? This is the problem with the system. It's nepotism.
Beings and eligible to inherit godhood from the Greater Will. Perhaps the Greater Will was just desperate to find a worthy successor, and indeed in the Shattering War to come, many would try to claim the shards of the Elden Ring, and they would try to take the throne, including, of course, the Tarnished, who returned from their long march at long last, which we'll talk about in the next main lore video. I should probably also mention here that if you become a patron, you'll see upcoming lore videos early.
So it's crazy that I'm just a regular dude who went on a very long walk and then I came back and killed like 15 gods. That's the story. That's sick, dude. That's actually fucking sick.
That's one of the rewards you get if you pledge to the $3 tier. And if you think my channel really adds a lot of value to the Souls games for you to the point where you pledge $20, then in this new tier...
I'll pledge $600 if you finish the fucking Game of Thrones novels. All right? Until then, don't at me. Damn, Atrioc was pretty... I wasn't even that far off with my guess, to be quite honest. That was a good video. I love the visuals, too. He makes it seem so atmospheric and beautiful. Next video about the bosses. I do want to see a video about Radagon and... not Radagon. Radon and Melania and some of the coolest... I want to see that shit. All right. And then I'm going to go watch Family Feud, Shark Tank. Elden Ring's Demigods Explained. This is what I want. Pog. I think the boss fights are the coolest part of the game, so I want to see more stuff about them.
And all the direct offspring of Queen Marika. There was Godwyn, Morgott, Mohg, Radahn, Rykard, Ranni, Miquella, and Melania, Blade of Miquella. Melania, Blade of Miquella.
Yeah, I know your name.
Melania, Blade of Miquella.
Yeah, I know your name.
And Melania. Not again. All of these demigods had fallen from grace by the time the shattering occurred. But in this video, I want to mostly talk about the origins of these characters.
Yeah, cool.
Who these demigods were before the fall. And some of these demigods fell a long way indeed.
Oh, that was Godwyn?
Before he became this unsightly mess, Godwyn the Golden was quite the heroic figure. He was born of the promising union between Lord Godfrey and Queen Marika.
Pretty rich parents.
And he achieved great renown for his bravery in one of their wars, at least, the War of the Ancient Dragons. This war began when Grandsax, a great ancient dragon, rained calamity down upon Leyndell, marking the only time in historical record that Leyndell's walls had fallen. It's not clear why Grandsax first attacked, but fortifying themselves against lightning, the Knights of the Erdtree weathered his assault, and Grandsax was defeated. However, this was only the beginning, and a bitter war against the ancient dragons was to follow. During this war, the Erdtree Sentinels had an epiphany that the only way to truly protect the Erdtree
was to spend 7 hours beating up on fucking naked level 1 starting players for no reason. Huh? Is that how you get your kicks? Tree Sentinel? Someone you don't even know shows up unarmed, poor, broke, and you just beat the shit out of them for 7 hours. No, cool. Cool. You got someone on their own size to pick on?
Was to become dragons themselves. And so, despoiling the corpses of their foes, the grotesque sentinels served the Erdtree, but fought with the claws of the enemy.
Oh, that's
instead.
so strange.
In the end, the ancient dragons were routed once again. In a graveyard of swords by the Stormcaller Church, the end of the war is commemorated. Here, we learn that during battle, Godwyn the Golden defeated Fortisax, called the mightiest dragon of them all. However, he did not kill Fortisax.
Yikes.
Instead, he befriended him.
So
and it was in this act that the powers of the ancient dragons truly became a part of Leyndell. After all, only those loved by dragons can survive the ordeal of cladding their bodies in lightning. So, from an unlikely friendship, an ancient dragon cult was born in the capital city, and the Knights of Leyndell learned to worship the dragons and wield their lightning.
It's like How to Train Your Dragon.
Lanciax, sister of Fortisax, even took human form to better commune with the knights. It was officially decided that the worship of the ancient dragons did not conflict with belief in the Erdtree, and it was all thanks to Godwyn, commander of the dragon's golden lightning, and a true child of the golden lineage.
Okay.
But now, let's talk about Morgott and Mohg, the Omen twins, who were also born of Godfrey and Marika's golden lineage.
Yeah.
First, what is an omen? Well, to put it simply, an omen is an accursed child, seen as impure, as they are born with horns on the body and face.
That's
when this happens, the correct thing to do, culturally at least, is to cut off the horns of the omen, an act which usually causes them to perish. It's pretty messed up, but some omen do survive
let them keep
this
the
process,
horns.
and some omen are even given a cleaver, crafted specifically for them and awarded as a tool of war, although these weapons are bestowed with a readiness to take them away. We find one such omen in an Erdtree camp upon the Altus Plateau. Before you fight it, you might have noticed another omen nearby, writhing in its sleep. It's said that omens see evil spirits in their nightmares, and I think this omen is dreaming, haunted by the vengeful spirits of its accursed kin. This brings us to the Omen Killers, who
Okay.
are horrifying butchers of twisted conscience. They wear these horned masks that make a mockery of the Omen's nightmares, and these butchers hunt the Omen and amputate their horns. The first Omen killer was named Roll.
I want you guys to know, I did kill every single Omen I came across without delay or mercy, but it wasn't because they were Omens. Do you understand? It was equal opportunity. I wasn't like, oh, that's an Omen, let me kill it. It was like, I'm killing everything. Listen, you guys. You guys. Clearly, many of you are let down by my playthrough, and that created confusion about what I stand for. It's always my consistent target to stand for absolute equality of opportunity, regardless of who you are, where you came from, because that's what gaming's all about. Okay? Make no mistake, my life was full of learnings, and I've had my fair share of situations I got to in the past. I failed to read this room right, and I feel terrible about what I did to those Omens. So, I'm off the hook now, right?
Olo, a famous perfumer who had to imbibe a physic to rid himself of emotion so that he could better perform his tasks. Remember, it seems many Omen have their horns excised when they're very young. That's definitely disturbing enough to warrant an emotion-killing physic in my book. However, if the Omen is born of royalty, then their horns are not cut off, but the Omen is kept underground, unbeknownst to anyone, and imprisoned for eternity. By way of example, you would have seen all kinds of Omen confined to the sewers beneath Lane Dell. But why are Omen considered to be accursed in the first place? Some of them are clearly intelligent, so what's inherently wrong with being born with horns?
That's my question.
Great strength. Well, it's important to remember, I think, that this curse might only really exist in the context of the Golden Order. After all, those afflicted with Omen horns are not able to return to the Erd Tree for rebirth, and are said to be born outside of its grace. But why does the Golden Order disavow the Omen, then? Well, it's hard to say for sure, but my working theory is that it's to do with the Crucible. According to this ancient incantation, horns were once an aspect of the Erd Tree's primordial crucible, where all life was once blended together.
Okay.
And with the exception of a couple of Crucible nights in and around
Don't they have a ton of
Lendell,
horns?
we know that the Golden Order has started to distance itself from most things that touch upon the Crucible. While things like horns, knots, feathers, and scales once grew on the human body and were considered signifiers of the divine, now they are disdained as impurities as civilization has advanced. We learn this from the knot, scale, and feather talismans, all of which are guarded by Omen or dropped by Omen killers, no less.
Interesting.
Unfortunately for the Order of the Erd Tree, these once divine impurities seem to crop up in some births, whether they like it or not. Almost like it's a genetic trait, as if it touches upon the crucible at the root of the Erd Tree. And so you have to ask, is it really a curse to be born as a graceless Omen? Well, as with most curses in these games, I think that depends on your perspective.
Interesting.
In any case, Mohg and Morgoth were
Omen rights.
royalty, and thus they were born into a wretched mire far below the earth, horns and all. Here, they were kept under the strictest confinement. Each of them were bound with charmed shackles that were covered in roots or thorns and bathed in golden magic. It seems very few people were supposed to know that they even existed. Morgoth, for his part, renounced and despised his accursed Omen blood, but his brother Mohg embraced it. Deep underground, Mohg stood before an outer god, a being called the Formless Mother, who craves wounds, a being capable of bestowing power upon accursed blood. In this moment, Mohg's accursed blood erupted with fire, and he became besotted with the defilement that he was born into. Here, deep below the earth, he would go on to build a dynasty of blood, in reverence of a mother, something it seems he never truly had. As for Morgoth, he was born into the same accursed...
Okay. Look, and I understand being abandoned by your mom. That's not cool. I don't know necessarily that's like a good enough reason to build a dynasty of blood. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's got to be There's gotta be a middle ground there.
Fate as his twin brother, but despite not being blessed with grace, he loved the Erd Tree all the same, and even took it upon himself to crawl out of the sewers and become the Erd Tree's protector when the Erd Tree needed him most. In the end, he rightfully became the Omen King and Lord of Leyndell. Omen or not, he was, after all, born of Godfrey and
Wow, he did
Marika's
it.
golden lineage.
Even against...
Of course, the
all
marriage
odds.
between Godfrey and Marika would be ended, and before long, Marika remarried with another man, a champion named Radagon,
Yeah.
who Marika calls her other half. He became second Elden Lord and the king consort, but he also brought with him 3 children from a previous marriage that he had had with a Carian queen named Renala. These children were Rani, Rykard, and Radahn, and they all became demigod stepchildren after Radagon's reunion with Queen Marika.
Got it. Mom's rich, they get
Possessed of
strong.
his father's flaming red hair, Radahn was fond of its heroic implications and considered himself to be born of a great champion. Yet he also looked up to another man, Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, Queen Marika's first husband and the Lord of the battlefield.
Damn, so... Wait. He looks up to his dad, but also the man his dad replaced? It's not even like his stepdad or something. It's like it's just the previous. It's not his stepdad though, right? I guess it sort of is. It is his stepdad. It's mom's ex, really.
But Radahn wasn't just
It's
the
his
son...
stepmom's ex. That's what it is. You're right. He looked up to his stepmom's ex. That's crazy.
of Radagon, and an aspiring lord of the battlefield. He was also the son of Renala, who was head of the Academy of Raya Lucaria and Queen of Caria. So as a Carian royal, inclined towards sorcery, Radahn bent his will towards mastering gravitational magics.
It's funny to picture Radahn studying, because he seems like such a Giga Chad.
Rock sling, gravity well, collapsing stars. These techniques were taught to him in Celia, the town of sorcery, all so he would never have to abandon his beloved but scrawny steed. That said, before long, his powers would be put towards a more cosmic purpose than simply allowing him to ride his own horse. Radahn was taught gravitational magic by an alabaster lord, a member of a race of ancients with skin of stone who was said to have risen to life when a meteor struck long ago. And when his lessons were complete, Radahn uttered these chilling words.
Thank you for your tutelage. For now, I can challenge the stars.
And, of course, he did conquer the stars, and the very constellations would be halted by his strength. But of course, you kind of have to ask, why? Why was it necessary to conquer the stars
because
in the first place? Well, I have a couple of theories. Theory one is that it was done in self-defense. After all, according to the sword gravestone, Radahn was protecting Celia. What's more, gravitational magic has destructive power, and many gravitational beasts are proof of that destructive power. A being named Astel had even come down to the lands between in the past and destroyed a place called the Eternal City. What's more, Celians are descendants of the Eternal, positioned right above the Eternal City underground, so there is an argument to be made for Radahn purely defending.
How does stopping the stars do any of that?
Celia, for some reason, here. But it's possible for Radahn to have fought in this conflict and to have made the first move as well. So this is theory 2, that Radahn conquered the stars as a preventative measure in service to the greater will. According to a set of astrologer items, the night sky cradles fate. There's even a banished sect of people called the Nox, who live deep below the earth in eternal anticipation of the coming age of stars and their Lord of Night.
Okay.
Long ago, these people invoked the ire of the greater will.
Who didn't?
So it would make sense that those in service to the greater will might have sought to arrest the stars and put an end to this fate. What's more, Radahn was just a huge fanboy of Godfrey, and he seems to have more loyalty to the Erd Tree than to the moon.
Okay.
Finally, the telescope item description says that the fate once writ in the night skies had been fettered by the Golden Order, So surely this is referencing Radahn's actions, and it levels the blame at the Golden Order. But putting Radahn's motivations aside, it's a fact that the stars were held back, and that this had great consequences for many, especially for the rest of his Carian royal family.
Let me explain. The fate of the Carian royal family is guided by the stars, as is the fate of Lady Rani, first heir in the Carian royal line.
Okay.
The General Radahn is the conqueror of the stars, who stood up to the swirling constellations, halting their movement in a smashing victory.
Pretty insane
And
he did that.
so, if General Radahn were defeated, the stars would once again
It would take a
resume
real
their
glamorous
movement,
samurai to do that.
as would Lady Rani's destiny.
Lunar Princess Rani was the daughter of Radagon and Renala, and sister to Radahn. Interestingly, if you look at her true body atop the Divine Tower, it looks like she might have also inherited the red hair of Radagon.
Oh, interesting.
Cool detail. But unlike her brother, Radahn, she quite clearly took after her mother more, who was Renala, head of the Carian royal family. The House of Caria has this storied history, one that seems
Mega rich.
to go way back to the astrologers. In the Carian Manor, we find one of their treasures, the Sword of Night and Flame. It reads, astrologers who preceded the sorcerers
Trunko, what do you think of the 18 months?
established themselves
I have a star named after me. I won't let it go unnoticed. I would not let it go unnoticed.
in mountaintops that nearly touched the sky and considered the fire giants their neighbors. Renala herself was an astrologer, always chasing the stars in her youth. Then she met the full moon, and in time, the astrologer became a queen, establishing the
What?
House of
She
Caria
met the full
as
moon?
royalty. Caria appears to have
Like a meet cute?
matriarchal hierarchy, with multiple princesses and Carian knights that serve as their retainers. Now, however, there is only one princess, Rani, daughter of Renala. And at the time of her birth, she would have been set to inherit quite a lot of power indeed, for the Carian royal family was at its height, and her mother was not only queen, she was also head of the Academy of Raya Lucaria, having bewitched them with the enchanting power of the full moon.
Right.
Leading the young Rani by the hand, Renala guided her daughter to a meeting with a moon of her own.
Okay.
What Rani beheld was cold, dark, and veiled in
it's a
occult
moon.
mystery. A dark moon, a sort of twin to Renala's own full moon. You can even see both of these hanging in the sky if you stargaze from the heights of the Moonlight Plateau.
Okay.
Another who guided Rani was a character called the Snowy Crone, who the young Rani encountered deep in the woods. When you look at Rani, it's actually the likeness of this snow witch that you're seeing, as the doll that now houses Rani's soul was
interesting.
modeled
She stole
after
it.
her, probably as a sign of respect. Clearly, Rani looked up to this mysterious woman. She became Rani's secret mentor, and she even knew about the Dark Moon, teaching the young Rani to fear it as she imparted her cold
What if it was
sorceries.
America?
So, what do these moons represent? That's just a theory, but I think the moons kind of act as guides. The lost black moon of Noxtella, for example, was the guide of countless stars. What's more,
What if
Rani
everyone is America and it's all like a big fucking circle jerk roleplay by her to pass the time?
and Renala were heavily influenced by their moons. Renala's moon bewitched the academy that she became the head of, and Rani's dark moon, for its part, also imparts wisdom and leads a voyage in the Age of Stars ending. They could even be outer gods. And yet, for all of this guidance, Caria and Leonia as a whole have experienced steep decline. Radagon betrayed the House of the Moon. Radahn locked the stars out of motion.
Yeah, things went
the
bad.
Academy town is flooded to the north. Caria has been ruined in the west, and
Fixer
the
upper.
stars and moon have gone their separate ways. Nevertheless, Rani, last princess of Caria, remains, carefully setting new plans into motion. Sibling to Rani and Radahn was a man named Rykard, who was lord of the Volcano Manor. There is evidence that Rykard was friendly with
I feel like she got the power of the moon and he got the power of the stars, and this guy just got eaten by a snake. Like, he doesn't feel like he's even close to the same level of the other two siblings. He seems like kind of
his siblings. he conspired with his sister Rani later on, and there's even a portrait of Radahn hung in the Volcano Manor, as well as a portrait of Rykard himself before the fall. Item descriptions mark Rykard as stern, ambitious, heroic, and blasphemous. A part of this blasphemy was opposing the Erd Tree, which actually drew many knights to his banner.
He opposed the Erd Tree?
Rykard believed in taking by force, just as the gods did, and clearly many believed that he would usher in a new age.
Didn't quite do that, did he?
The armor set of the Gelmir Knights reveals to us what were once very loyal soldiers. The crest of red feathers are there to symbolize Rykard's pedigree as Lord Radagon's son, and the emblem upon their chest piece represents a lord who had lofty ambitions. However, as Rykard delved into the ancient secrets of Mount Gelmir, he came across the immortal Great Serpent, an ancient deity that aligned with Rykard's ambitions. And so, Rykard fed himself
as
to
one
the Great
does,
Serpent, so that he might devour, grow, and live eternally. Alas, this was too much for his knights, and they believed that their
Yeah, of course, dude. Of course your fucking knights are going to be like, wow, this is not what I signed up for. I thought he was like this cool Chad knight, and instead he's a giant serpent that screams, devour, in the middle of a volcano.
The master's heroic ambitions had degenerated into mere greed.
It's like being an Amazon executive. Yeah, and then Jeff Bezos shows up one day. He's a gigantic fucking snake with Jeff Bezos' face screaming, devour. That's... I would quit. I would resign. I would go work at Facebook or something. I would leave.
So they searched desperately for a weapon with which they might halt their lord. And they found it too. The immortal serpent had lived for a long time, and so there was also a weapon to kill it that had been designed long ago as well. A serpent hunter. But it was too late. As the lord lost his dignity, so too did the knights lose their master. Not that it bothered Rykard.
Now we can devour God together.
Together.
Next, we need to discuss Millennia and Mikola.
Oh,
These
fuck.
two were twins as they were born. No, Rykard, please. Anyway, as you know, Radagon's marriage with Renala did not last.
Sag.
Afterwards, he returned to the Golden Order and became Queen Marika's consort. But what I haven't yet mentioned is that, together, they were blessed with two demigod children, the so-called twin prodigies. Now, in the last lore video, I briefly proposed that these two twins were born after the Shattering, after Radagon and Marika had merged together to become a single god.
Right.
However, I've since changed my mind. I think Millennia and Mikola were clearly born before the Shattering. There's just so much proof that these two twins were a force that were influencing the world long before the Shattering took place.
Okay.
Anyway, both of these twins were born afflicted. Specifically in the
Lore
Japanese
changed?
text, it's said that their births were vulnerable. Mikola was born afflicted with eternal youth, and Millennia,
no.
for her part, was vulnerable to rot. Interestingly, Millennia's scarlet rot is actually an outer god. This outer god, like many others in the game, seems to have an order that is able to be imposed upon the world via an Empyrean vessel, and Millennia was that vessel. And while the Scarlet Rot is pretty terrible, you can sort of argue that it's got a beauty to it. According to Gowry, the Order of Rot.
Melania trying to like make friends after ruining the entire fucking... It's okay. I see what you're saying. It's not... It's an acquired taste. I understand that. But actually...
is resplendent. It's a cycle of death and rebirth. Kind of like the
Isn't it
lotus
kinda
flower,
just
which
death?
is a flower that blooms anew, beautiful and fresh from mud. I actually have art of this flower hanging in my home. I always love the symbol of it.
Weeb.
I actually have lots of art hanging now, and I'm going to talk about all of this artwork that you can buy at the end of the video. Anyway, so Millennia the Empyrean was vulnerable to and afflicted by the Scarlet Rot. There was said to be no cure to this, and while fire and consecration seemed to be somewhat effective at warding it off, Millennia would slowly lose her physical self to the rot.
Oof.
Interestingly, old legends of the Scarlet Rot have persisted in the world for generations, and we learn more about the Rot God from the Blue Dancer charm. The Dancer in blue represents a fairy who, in legend, bestowed a flowing sword upon a blind swordsman. Blade in hand, the swordsman sealed away an ancient god, a god that was rot itself.
Wow, impressive.
Specifically, this god was long ago sealed away in the stagnant water that is downstream of the Ainsel River underground.
Hated this part.
And wherever rot appears, the kindred of rot appear as well. These are pests and servants of the rot. And now, in the current age, these are servants that have been forsaken by Millennia, who is their new goddess. So, this blind swordsman with the flowing curved sword actually went on to become Millennia's mentor. So technically it's him that we have to blame for this goddamn attack.
He taught her that.
The prosthesis wearer heirloom tells us more. A talisman engraved with a scene from a heroic tale. Though born into the accursed rot, when the young girl encountered her mentor and his flowing blade, she gained wings of unparalleled strength.
Okay, cool.
Millennia's ridiculous attack is called the Waterfowl Dance, and aesthetically it makes sense that, flowing waters would counter the effects of rot. For just as still waters turn foul, stagnation turns to decay.
Deep.
Thus, warriors must remain ever drifting. And indeed, Millennia does resist the call of the rot.
She really tried.
There's a lot of evidence that she's not really a willing vessel, but through sheer will and sense of self, she resists the rot. And only when she is truly pressed in battle will she abandon this will and bloom into the goddess within. Millennia's first bloom was during her fight against Radahn, and releasing her Scarlet Rot was a last-ditch effort that would
Why did they fight
the land of Caelid.
Why did they fight? Like, why did Millennia and Radahn, who both have the same mom, fight? Just cuz? For the throne?
And cripple Radahn. So, whatever she was fighting for in this fight against Radahn, somehow it was worth this terrible act.
Yeah, she really fucked it.
In general terms, at least, it's clear that Millennia was fighting for her brother. Apart from the times where she relapses into being the goddess of rot, she is known as the Blade of Miquella. She actually goes to great lengths to tell you this. I don't know if you heard. Despite being the toughest boss in From Software history, she's actually fighting for his right to godhood, not her own. In Millennia's own words, her brother Miquella possesses the wisdom, the allure of a god. He is the most fearsome Empyrean.
We never see him though, right?
For his part, Miquella did a lot to earn his sister's dedication, not the least of which was inspiring her armor and a prosthetic of unalloyed gold. And it's not just his sister that loved Miquella, many people did. The Bewitching Branch is an item that you can use to turn enemies into temporary allies, and it reads, "Indeed, he has learned very well how to compel such affection." For his father Radagon, Miquella fashioned and gifted to him a fundamentalist incantation called Triple Rings of Light. Radagon then returns the favor, gifting back an incantation called Radagon's Rings of Light.
Little arrogant.
These interactions show some of Miquella's positive connections with his father and also Golden Order fundamentalism. And yet, the young Miquella abandoned fundamentalism, for it could do nothing to treat Millennia's accursed rot. This was the beginning of unalloyed gold. So, what is unalloyed gold? Well, an alloy is a composition of metals, so unalloyed gold is pure gold, essentially, with no external mixtures. This gold apparently can ward away the meddling of outer gods, and so Miquella bent a lot of his efforts towards creating an unalloyed gold needle.
Okay.
Specifically, this needle was crafted for his sister, to ward off the rot god and forestall the effects of the incurable rotting sickness.
Okay, so they're just good siblings.
We see the bond between the siblings as well when we visit Miquella's Halig tree. We see a statue of a one-armed woman embracing a child, Miquella. In this place, we see the biggest example of Miquella's benevolence, the Halig tree, and the society that was built into the brace that supports it. This was a promised land, seen as a salvation to many who were shunned or persecuted, provided that they can actually find the path here, of course.
Yeah, pretty hard to get there.
Like many other Empyreans, Miquella seems to have had the will within them to create a new order, and his is an order that's somewhat modeled on the ones that came before it. The biggest thing is that the
kill them all, but
is clearly
let's
inspired
not
by
dwell
the
on
Erd
that.
tree. But the difference is that Miquella's Halig tree is said to be accepting of all, even those the Erd tree shuns. Miquella himself was once embedded inside of the Halig tree, and he watered it with his very own blood, since it was a mere sapling.
Jesus.
Tragically, however, he was ripped out of this womb during the shattering, and his Halig tree ultimately failed to grow into an Erd tree, becoming a misshapen husk.
Everything seems to go wrong in the Elden Ring world.
That's the story for another day. There's also a ton of cut content to do with Miquella, and he's one of the most mysterious demigods, who I'm sure we'll learn about more later. But there is one
DLC,
more
perhaps?
thing that I want to mention.
Miquella's Adventure, where you play as a small boy watering a tree with your blood. Could be interesting.
Before I go, it's kind of one theory I had during the making of this
It
video.
would be crazy if after all the crazy boss fights of Elden Ring, the DLC boss fight was you just killing a little child. It's an $80 DLC, and you just walk up and you stab a small boy, and you got him.
So, Miquella and Millennia each have their own butterflies. Millennia's is the Aeonian butterfly, which inhabit the swamp of Aeonia and are rumored to come from the wings of the rot goddess herself. And I think it's fair to say that Miquella's butterfly is the nascent butterfly, which appears as if it's just emerged from its cocoon for its entire life.
Right.
This is a reference to Miquella's eternal youth and his cocoon in the Halig tree. But there is, of course, a third butterfly, right? There's the smoldering butterfly. It's said to be an eternally burning butterfly that serves as kindling.
Who's that represent?
Now bear with me, but it's my theory that this butterfly is a reference to Melina, who the Blade of Calling calls the kindling maiden and the one who walks alongside flame. This might suggest that Melina is a sibling to Millennia and Miquella. Again, that's just a theory, but what I really want to talk about here is that, at the very least, Melina is almost certainly the daughter of
Who
Marika.
isn't?
We learned this a long time ago from looking at her name in the game's files, and we can further infer it from her dialogue, as she has a few lines that refer to mother.
Well, also, what is it? Wait. Marika of daughter. Yeah, that'll do it. If that's your internal file game, yeah, that's pretty.
And further infer it from her dialogue, as she has a few
subtle.
lines that refer to mothers, and one that says that she was born inside the Erd tree. So her being the daughter of Marika is also just a theory, but this one is much more concrete than the butterfly
Yeah, it
one.
feels pretty
Although the reason I
solid.
like the butterfly theory is that it gives us a hint as to who Melina's parents might have been. Her parents would have been Radagon and Marika, which is to say Marika herself alone, I guess, because Radagon is Marika. Honestly,
Okay, so what I said at the beginning was actually not that far off, dude. This is basically like fucking Greek gods. It's like Zeus having 19 kids with himself. It's actually everyone is Marika. Marika's having sex with herself in 14 different ways.
Melina as a character has only become more mysterious since the game was released, and I'm really only scratching the surface with this theory. But speaking of times before Elden Ring was released, back then, a long time ago, I commissioned this piece from a renowned artist named Marco, and now I'm so excited to reveal it for the first time.
This is an ad?
This storybook scene is...
It's an ad. Okay. Interesting. Dope video. All right, so they're all basically Marika's kids, and they all got to fucking up the world, basically. So the moral of the story is that nepotism ruins everything. Interesting. Okay, we have 30 minutes. I think we should watch Shark Tank. Shark Tank Family Feud, baby. Or we could watch Donkey. Let me see. could also do Shark Tank tomorrow. I'm totally down. Let's see. Shark. What is the donkey?
Now here's a level from.
We can watch Donkey Elden Ring, and here I'll watch Donkey Elden Ring. Actually, fucking why not? Elden Ring. Oh, he's got a couple. Dunk Runes or Elden Ring Dunk View? Which one is the one? Okay.
There's a fence. I'm sensing that the Elden Ring is in this very room. Maybe a cheer. Elden Ring ahead. I'm getting close now. Oh, definitely Elden Ring is gonna be right over there. There's a fence. He's powerless with the fence is gone. The fence is gone.
I didn't see this.
You were simply no match. I've beaten every Dark Soul. Don't kill. This is normal. Too late, dumbass. You can never reach me up here. The bear is one of the dumbest animals in the animal kingdom.
I never saw this many bears.
Don't kill. Stop! Where's Elden Ring?
Also, never really used his shield.
Batman, I beat every Dark Soul. Who the fuck? You're not even in this fight. Lobster battle.
Lobster was annoying.
Look at him go. Ow. Boom, and you're dead, and the lobster is one of the dumbest animals. And he has a second phase. Why does a normal enemy have a second phase? That's it. Now
That wasn't a second.
Where am I? Where am I? Who am I? Did I win or lose?
Is this 8 minutes of him dying to different bosses?
I shall become Elden God. Now die. No, go in it. Go in the laser. Thank you. No, go back. Thank you. Go back in. Go back in. There you go. Now just stand there for like an hour. No. Go back.
You can't move it?
Alright. I'm back. Alright, beat him. I beat the giant. Shoot me with your
How did that work?
Spider-Man, you piece of shit. Stupid Elden Ring game. I hate this game. Oh, shit. He's still going. He's still doing it, huh? I'm gonna kill him. The Elden chest. That's where it's stored. Do you guys know where Elden Ring is? Check this out. Whee!
Oh, you know what'd be cool to watch? You know what'd be cool to watch? An Elden Ring speedrun. Elden Ring speedrun. Elden Ring any percent in under 4 minutes? Slow. I'm sorry, but slow. Excuse me? Okay. So far, same as me. Didn't exactly do that. I don't know what the hell's happening here. Okay. This is a waste of time. Okay. 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 I had a different tactic on this, but all right, that's interesting. Okay. I noticed he skipped the Tree Sentinel fight. Cowardly. Very cowardly. Doesn't really count as a speedrun if you don't beat the Tree Sentinel. Okay. Clearly there's some way to use... I don't know what the sound is. Tick, 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 tick. And you just fly. That seems strong. Hitting random things, wasting time. It's a metronome. I didn't need that in my run. Just did it off the old mental. Use the noggin. Okay. Travels. Travels to a site of grace. So far, he has fought nothing in a game with 200 bosses. Okay. This is not bad for second place. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. It's a different take than I had. I'll say that. You know what I'm saying? Mine was a little more freestyle and a little bit faster, obviously, but I want to give credit. This guy tried hard. Okay. Flippy. Oh, he's missing it. He's missing it. Oh, there he goes. I guess this one seems more like accurate to the world. Like this guy's just a god. You know, it's like this is America's champion and he can fly and he fucks up everything. Okay, he shows up and then what? Flies through the wall. Then re-enters the very boss fight you were already in. And wait, the boss died for some reason? Why? Where'd he go? What? Okay, then you died. Right. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, 3 minutes in so far. Really taking your time. Taking the scenic route, sort of. Okay, then zooms up, but then saves the game. Wait, running it again? Oh? What the fuck? This is such a ridiculous trick. Okay. Now you've successfully done something. 343. Does that count as killing Horaloo? Why? What? What? Excuse me? Damn, no, that was a display of combat prowess that I've rarely ever seen. So technically, I did the same thing because I got killed by Horaloo a bunch of times. If anything, I did it more than he did. So I actually beat the game like 15 times. I got completely rocked by Horaloo a zillion. So interesting. Okay. Well, let me watch Donkey's new video about GTA 6. Donkey.
Red alert, red alert. Grand Theft Auto 6 has leaked. All gamers, man your battle stations. Well,
gamers!
It finally happened. After 217 years, we have finally gotten our first look at Grand Theft Auto 6. This footage is not that. This is from the Scarface video game for PS2. For 3 generations, the Grand Theft Auto game has been Grand Theft Auto 5. Kids today don't even understand that Grand Theft Auto is actually a series of multiple games. Today, kids just think Grand Theft Auto is Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah,
well, today, we finally got to see what Grand Theft Auto
Here it
6
is
going to look like. This is the video game to get away from PlayStation 2. This is not the leaked footage. During the Xbox 360 era, Rockstar had so many games. Ping Pong, Bully, GTA 4, Lost in the Damned, Gay Tony, Midnight Club, Chinatown Wars, Red Dead Redemption, Max Payne 3, Grand Theft Auto 5. In the PS4 era, Rockstar had one game, Red Dead Redemption 2. Now don't get me wrong, Red Dead 2 is, in my opinion, the best game they've ever done. But damn, did that game take a long time to
Well, that's
make.
the price of greatness.
For all you waiting to see GTA 6, wait no more. Some sneaky guy leaked some of the footage for the new game. What you are looking at right now is footage from the new game, Watch Dogs Legion. This is not GTA 6. Rockstar is shaking things up a lot at the company. One of the driving creative forces there, Dan Houser, who was the vice president and lead writer on nearly all their big name games, left the company in 2020.
Oh shit.
For Grand Theft Auto 6, Rockstar is saying there will be no crunch this time around. For employees at Rockstar, this will create a much more sustainable and healthy work environment. For gamers, this means that we will probably see the first trailer for GTA 6 in the year 2028. Apparently, the new game will be set in the fictional city of Vice City, which is of course based on Miami. This is Sleeping Dogs, by the way. This is the Grand Theft Auto. In
Sleeping
real life,
Dogs rules.
Florida is known as the Sunshine State because it always rains there every day, and they always have giant hurricanes. Grand Theft Auto 6 will use all new state-of-the-art weather systems to simulate this in-game. Sadly, it seems that the character Tommy Vercetti, though, will not make an appearance because actor Ray Liotta passed away this year. Let's take a look now at the leaked footage from Grand Theft Auto 4. For years, this game was kept under the utmost secrecy until finally leaking online a few weeks before release. Who can forget the unforgettable saga of Nico Bellic and his uncle Roman? GTA 6 will be the first game since GTA 2 on the Game Boy to feature a female protagonist. The storyline is said to be inspired by the real-life tale of Bonnie and Clyde. Check out this gameplay from the game Miami Vice, because I got confused. Players will be able to customize their horse with new paint jobs and faster parts. Grand Theft Auto 5 set historical benchmarks not only for gaming but for the entertainment industry as a whole, becoming the single most profitable piece of media ever
made big
created.
money.
For 9 years, gamers have been sitting on the edge of their seats hoping to catch a glimpse at what Rockstar has in store.
I'm surprised they haven't made a Grand Theft Auto show or movie in the universe yet. I'm actually pretty surprised given its massive ongoing money-making popularity, huge franchise name, and the success of that for other
with their next installment. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here it
No, it probably wouldn't be good, but that hasn't stopped other people in the past.
is, the leaked gameplay of Grand Theft Auto 6. Nico, my cousin, let's go bowling, Roman.
Holy shit!
What? That was it?
The wait has been worth it!
They should have delayed this leak.
Oh my god, that looks awesome! I feel like I was really there. That looks so good. Take all the time you need, Rockstar. Donkey Elden Ring review. How long is it? Donkey Elden Ring review.
Elden Ring is the biggest game ever made. When you start, the map is like this, and you go, damn, this game is big. Then you get teleported to the other side of the map and realize, oh my god, this game is big. Then you get teleported to the top of the map, and you go, whoa, this game big. Then you realize there's an entire other world underground, and a floating island, and a massive city, and an entire secret castle. 2 of them, actually. There are secret zones within secret zones within secret zones.
There is.
So the absolute highest compliment I can pay this game is to tell you that I have beaten this game 4 times now. Right out the gate, we're ripping off Zelda. You literally wake up in a tomb, open a big door, and the game says go. No hand-holding, no bullshit, just go wherever you want to go. Except don't fight that guy, and don't go over here because you'll die, and don't follow the beam of light because that's a fucking scam. Elden Ring's gameplay loop is to put a bullshit boss in front of you and say, okay, now go into the world and find something to chop his head off with. Having a concrete goal like defeating a scumbag boss makes exploration feel that much more meaningful. And visually,
not really how I
this
played
is
it.
a world worth exploring. Walking around in this game is like stepping inside of a painting. There are hundreds upon hundreds of scenic vistas which look impossibly curated and intentional, and the spaces in between are populated with an absurd array of creative enemies and bosses. FromSoft is famous for their enemy design, and they are really bringing the heat here.
Yeah, they were in their bag for this one.
Sheer quantity, but also in terms of moves and variety. Penguins is in this game.
Although I will say,
statues,
every
lizards,
single
giant
boss,
monsters, vampire bats that sing
every single boss had sort of the same concept of like, I'm going to hold a sword up and I'm going to hold it for a little bit longer than you think. Like whoever discovered that concept at the office got a big promotion, and they just sort of used his idea over and over. Everyone, every single person does, except for Melania, I guess, which she was probably the goat fight.
The Halo theme. They got Pumpkinhead to be in this. Stretchy Lizard Man. The list goes on and on and on. And you're saying, Donkey, please don't spoil this game for me, but I can't. This game cannot be spoiled because this game does not end, okay? This is Dark Souls 4. No end credits edition. But what's frustrating about Elden Ring is that
you can
for
turn
all
into a
the
box
effort that has gone into the world and enemies, it feels like they only spent 10 seconds balancing this game. The difficulty in this game is best described as, what is the word I'm looking for here? Total fucking horseshit. This is an evil game made by an evil man, and whoever's job it was to balance the damage scaling on enemies did not show up to work for the entire making of this game. Just from saying that, already people are pissed off at me. They're saying Donkey sucks. I hate you, Donkey, nitpicking and biased. You only like Xbox. But always remember, I beat this. And this is fucking stupid. And I beat Elden Ring 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Because why? Because I'm the realest gamer of all time. And I say it's too hard. I am calling this game out. Not because it's a bad game, but because it's an incredible game that is hell.
I don't think anything was too hard. I do think some moves were a little bullshit. The bird, the death bird. The death bird, I don't even think I streamed this one. It was the one boss I didn't stream. The death bird in... No. I streamed fighting a death bird, but I didn't stream fighting the death bird. No, I guarantee you guys didn't watch it because I remember doing it off stream. The one that I fought on stream was the one, I don't know, in Kaled or whatever, and the one that I fought off stream is the one in the snow area, and that one was 50 times worse. The snowy death bird is the most busted enemy in the game, and I feel very confident in saying that. It was worse than Melania, actually, in terms of like the honesty of the moves. It's just it's complete bullshit. The snow death bird. I swear to God, it wasn't on stream. You're wrong. There's 2 death birds. I actually legitimately know for a fact they played that one off stream. Show me a clip. Show me a clip. I know for a fact I didn't, dude. There's the one in the the one in like northwest of the snowfield. The consecrated snowfield one. I'm quite sure that is the worst enemy in the whole game. Yeah, Yeti agrees. We didn't see him, so you guys are dumb as fuck if you said that I did.
Held back by very poor balancing. Many of your deaths in this game do not feel earned, like dying to this stupid shit or losing 70,000 runes to the wonky platforming. So
Stillwater, I'm telling you, you're dead fucking wrong. I'm telling you. All right? So unless you snuck into my fucking house and watched it over my shoulder, I know for a fact I played it off stream. All right? I know for a fact. There are multiple death birds.
So many enemies in this game can kill you in 1 or 2 hits, or kill you with a combo that comes out so fast it feels like 1 hit, or they can stun you into
Hey,
another hit,
Crexus,
which also
you're
feels
broke,
like 1 hit,
dumb,
or they
and
can just
banned.
Kill you in 1 grab, straight up.
Never come here again as long as you live. Don't watch my YouTube either. I never want to hear from you.
Kind of difficult, but making those moves hit for your entire health bar is fucking lame and cheap. Rewards. Now, what's fun about Elden Ring's rewards is you never know what you're gonna get. What sucks about that is you end up struggling in a cave for an hour to get a wizard staff that you can't even use. Look at this dude. He cannot actually turn around to attack you. He is worth 3,300 XP. Then you have this guy who can do this, and he can say this, or he can say this, and he has this move too. This guy, who has a ton of health, by the way, is worth
because people are telling me. It's not even like a debate. It's obvious. There's multiple birds. Okay? There's multiple birds. Let's look it up right now. I swear, let's just look it up right now. Death right birds. How to defeat all death right birds, implying there's multiples. Where to find every death right bird. There are 4 total death right birds. Okay. There's 1 in Mountaintops of the Giants. That's what you watched. I'm looking at it right here. This is the one. This is the Mountaintops of the Giants one. This one is the one in Consecrated Snowfield. You're so fucking dumb. This is Mountaintops of the Giants. God, you are fucking dumb. I just feel like I have to. It's like you shouldn't even be arguing about this. It's not a fucking debate. It's like I'm pointing at something blue and you're like, nope, it's red. No, it's blue. I know because I'm looking at it. Imagine being Big A's neighbor and hearing him shout, "This is the Mountaintop of the Giants," angrily. No! This is the Mountaintop of the Giants! Yo, Big A, have you seen my bird? I lost him in a snowfield. He's a big boy. Well, did you lose him in a snowfield or in the Mountaintop of the Giants? Because I happen to know about both. In case anyone's asking. Let me Google something. I Googled hardest Deathrite bird and I got this thread. Is Deathrite bird the most annoying fucking boss in this game? Camera is the biggest enemy. This was the problem. It was the explosion move. He just randomly explodes and it does 100% of your health. Yeah, that was the only thing I was like, well, this is stupid. Everything else is fine. Okay. Elden Beast tries. Elden Beast was not a problem at all. Elden Beast was fine. I guess Elden Beast was fine being a little easy because it was a phase 2 of a pretty good final boss, Radagon. And, you know, you don't want to have to grind through Radagon 100 million times. Beast was fine. I got no problem with Beast. It was a lot of running. It looked epic. But honestly, like, imagine a different world where lore didn't matter. I think having Moog be the final boss would have been fucking sick. Moog was like probably my coolest boss, or Radon. Like in terms of theme and everything, it was just cooler. Malekith was cool too. Imagine the twist. It was the tree sentinel the whole time. That would be the greatest thing for my playthrough of all time. If if it ended up being the tree sentinel, your very first enemy, was actually the fucking god behind the whole thing. And your final boss was like a fucking gigantic cracked out tree sentinel. Horaloo was pretty sick. Horaloo was the hardest boss on the final day for me. It was harder than Moog, harder than Radagon, harder than Elden Beast. Millennium was obviously the hardest boss of the game, but it felt like a more honest hard, except for that one move, but even that wasn't terrible. Oh, I didn't finish the donkey vid? Yeah, let's see. Where was the donkey vid?
3,800 XP. Only 500 more than the guy who can't turn around. Ow, what? You think that's fucked up, though? Look at these guys. They're literally sleeping. Watch what happens when I hit L2. I just got 20,000 XP for that. There are so many different weapons and spells and summons and special moves in this game that should make Elden Ring a wonderland.
There's just 2 katanas. A short one that you start with and a longer one you get later. You're wrong.
For experimentation, but because the upgrade system is so rigid and stingy, you feel discouraged from creating wacky builds. And then on top of that, you have this late game difficulty spike where it feels like your character just got reset back to level 1. The end game bosses are so brutal and so fast that it ultimately funnels every player into using the same broken builds.
No.
It's probably starting to sound like I hate this game, but try to remember, I beat this big ass game 4 times. 4.5 actually. Clearly they did something right. Games like this are far and few between, so I want them.
That was a very beautiful fight. I really liked this one.
They did something.
This Renala fight was very cool.
Right.
The gigantic
Games
moon.
like this are far and few between, so I want them to get this one just right. And the good news is that most of the problems with Elden Ring can be fixed by one dude with a slider tool. Just turn enemy damage down by 20, 30, 70%, and we're back in business.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Hype. Please, Shark Tank? No shot in hell. Gotta go to bed. Gotta work tomorrow. But I could watch one more thing. I mean, no, actually, I have to go. Chat, Sevens. Have a good night. If there's any great lore videos, link them to me. Maybe I'll even watch them offline. I am going to raid someone. I'm going to raid Maybe Skara. He's playing Omega Strikers. Or we could raid S2J. The all-time Falcon Goat. Or we could raid Afghans. Wizzy's online. I think S2J is the Falcon Goat, dude. S2JJJ. I'll just raid Skara. Or actually, I'll raid Afghans. Afghan's been on his hustle. Go check out Afghan. See what he's doing today. See what Afghans is up to. I'm sure it's something funny and hilarious. He's always goofing and gabbing. Thank you, BlackRock Holdings. BlackRock Holdings. Thank you for the tier 1. All right. Peace. Good night, everybody. Thanks to everybody that watched the NVIDIA stream today. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.